Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. We hope. Anyway, guys, I am DC, your host of Barside Jive Live, and it is Tuesday, August 27th, 2019, and we are at the Vokal Media Studios, and we are so glad that you guys are joined us this evening because we know you have an option on what you do, where you spend your time, and we're so glad it's with us tonight. So we are at the Vokal Media Studios, the new Vokal Media Studios in North Dallas. It's quite a change for us. I mean, instead of driving south now, we drive north, but it's all good. So we are glad we're here, and we appreciate you guys being here. This show happens at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time for all of our friends over in Europe every freaking Tuesday. So check us out. We feature the very best cover and tribute bands in the country on this show. So that's what it's a lot about. We also have an Art Jive Live segment that we do featuring visual artists. So we're looking forward to the show tonight. I did mention Bre, but you'll meet her in a minute. So you can now download my shows on iTunes, Stitcher, and TuneIn. If you guys are listening to this episode as a podcast, all you've got to do if you want to watch it is go to my YouTube channel. That's the coolest thing to do. YouTube.com/Barside Jive Live, and it'll get you there. Check out the playlists and check out the content as it happens. This show is also sponsored by
The Zoo
on Vokal.
The Zoo is the world's best rock and can be streamed 24/7, 365 at vocalnow.com. And it's always vocal with a
K.
Absolutely, Bre. So good at that. The reason I like The Zoo, guys, is because I've been listening to it for many, 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 many years. But it's classic rock, deep cuts, B-side, last song on the album that you won't hear anywhere on FM. And very few commercials, and that is huge. I mean, that's like huge. So we don't like commercials. You don't either. So check out The Zoo. This is more of the good shit and less of the bad. Okay, that's what The Zoo is all about. So
baby shark do 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 baby shark do 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 baby shark.
all right. You guys are jacking with me again. Okay, so much for my breaking news intro. On this day in rock history, the year is 1990, and Stevie Ray Vaughan, he had a promising life, and it was cruelly cut short when the helicopter that he was riding in, along with 3 members of Eric Clapton's touring group, crashed. Everyone on board was killed. Stevie was one of the most influential blues guitarists of the 1980s and described by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as the second coming of the blues. Rest in peace, Stevie. Check out my 2-part chat with Jimmy Vaughan, Stevie's brother, on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Barside Jive Live. Go to my Barside Jive, the Rock and Roll Files, and you will find that interview with Jimmy Vaughan there. Okay, so Alec Lifeson, Rush's prodigiously, I like it when I say big word correctly, talented co-founding guitarist, celebrates a birthday on this day in 1953. Born to Serbian parents in Fernie, British Columbia, the future Rock and Roll Hall of Famer's given name was, stand by, Alexander Zivojinovic, or something like that. All right. On this day, also, 2 of rock's most iconic legends intersected as Elvis Presley meets the Beatles. The still rising Fab Four were staying at Zsa Zsa Gabor's home during a break from their 1965 tour, while Presley was at work on a film in Hollywood, California. Faced with the obviously nervous Beatles, Elvis finally broke the ice by saying, "If you damn guys are going to sit there and stare at me all night, I'm going to go to bed." And he did. All right, Elvis. Cool guy, right? So Randy Newman, meanwhile, on this day in 1979, had to deal with commercial expectations with the release of Born Again, which followed his breakout but widely misunderstood 1977 song, Short People. It caused a commotion. But it's a song from Newman's album, Little Criminals. The verses and chorus are lyrically constructed as a prejudiced attack on short people. In contrast, the bridge states that short people are just the same as you or I. Newman interprets the song to be about prejudice and wrote the song from the point of view of a biased narrator. The song was misunderstood by many listeners who wrongly assumed that it reflected Newman's personal viewpoint towards short people. Wrong. All right, guys. Izzy Stradlin. Being a member of one of the biggest rock bands in the world comes with many privileges: fame, fortune, notoriety, women. But apparently whipping out your privates and urinating in front of a bunch of people on an airplane isn't one of them. Something Guns N' Roses guitarist Izzy Stradlin found out on this day in 1989 aboard a U.S. Air flight. Guns N' Roses at the time were pretty much at the top of their game. Their debut album, Appetite for Destruction, had been credited for prying rock and roll from the manicured hands of the glamorous MTV-approved groups that looked way better than they sounded. GNR sounded tough, and they lived that way too. They were on the road most nonstop from June '87, a month before Appetite for Destruction came out, through December 1988. And trouble seemed just to follow those guys around wherever they went. In November '87, Axl Rose assaulted a security guard. The next summer, 2 fans died during their set at Donington, the Monsters of Rock Festival. Plus, there were bar fights, a lyrical controversy, and drug abuse rumors that would lead to a Rose-issued onslaught ultimatum. The group was on a much-needed break, mostly from each other, when Izzy Stradlin hopped a plane from Indianapolis, where he was visiting family, to Los Angeles, California. But he never made it back. Sometime before the plane reached Arizona, Stradlin verbally abused a flight attendant, lit a cigarette in an unauthorized area, and most famously peed on the floor of the gallery in front of shocked passengers. When the plane landed in Phoenix, he was assisted off the plane by the police. He said, and I quote, "I'm not waiting any longer." His publicist said he was merely expressing himself. And Stradlin ended up with a year's probation for the Mile High Pee incident. He also had to write a letter of apology to the flight crew. Soon after, he retreated to his mom's home back in Indiana, where he kicked his drug and alcohol addictions. There's always a good ending to a story like that. So, Bre,
Hello.
you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. You sure?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
We're here.
I should people to keep falling free and free for this.
What's going on, Bre Akers?
Nothing.
How's the Tipsy Gypsy?
Great.
Awesome. What you got for us tonight?
All right. Well, I'm kind of disappointed in myself
Uh-oh.
because
I hate it when you start off that way.
I know, but we'll just get the
Ugh.
bad stuff out of the way.
Okay.
I could not find the hardcore seltzers that we talked about last week.
Really?
Yeah, or the pickle beer or anything.
No.
So, no. So I had to
Wow.
settle on the next best basic bitch thing I could find.
Okay.
So
Well, let's hear it.
I brought you from local brewery, Lakewood, their pumpkin pie spiced dunkel. Their punkle.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
yeah, I can tell you're really excited.
Sounds interesting. I
Right.
don't know if I've ever had a dunkel.
I haven't either, so we're going to do this together.
Okay.
So I figured since the big old pumpkin spice latte trends and pumpkin spice everything officially like kicks off right around this season,
Right.
why not have pumpkin spice beer?
Right.
See how this goes over.
Right.
So,
Right.
well, like I said, we'll see how this goes.
Okay.
So here's a lovely,
Mm.
you know,
Thank you, Bre.
you're welcome.
So this is a taste test.
It's a taste test because we have to have something, and I've never had it, and I figured you're not the pumpkin spice kind of guy, so
Probably not, but we'll see. You could change my mind. I'm open.
maybe they can change your mind. I'm just
All right.
well, cheers.
You're just the provider.
Yeah, I'm just the provider.
Yeah.
So
All right, cool. Let's go.
all right.
It's pumpkiny.
It is pumpkin-y.
Yeah, pumpkin spice.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's not bad.
it's not too bad.
Mm-mm. It's
So-
great. It's great.
That face says it all, everybody.
It's great stuff. What brand was that again?
This is from Lakewood.
Lakewood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Trying to find something local here.
Brewer of fine beers.
Yes. So
It'd be a great holiday, a good Thanksgiving.
I feel like it'd
Halloween.
be really good for like cooking or baking something.
Yeah.
I don't know what, but
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
I bet a lot of chicks will dig this stuff.
or if like instead of like water or something, you use this for like pancakes or something.
Yeah.
Like a beer batter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what I'd go with, everybody.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
Yeah. So,
Sounds great to me.
well, my industry trends for you guys this week. I always like to pose a question to DC to start it off.
Oh, I can't wait. I love your question.
All right. What are your thoughts on getting drunk for only 20 minutes?
That would be really good.
You think it'd be good? Do you think it'd be like worth it?
For only 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably no hangover.
It depends.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, what is going on is that there is a U.S. company that has combined two very popular things in America, vaping and alcohol.
Vaping.
So, but it's actually increasing in popularity in the UK. But a company called Vape Shot takes a bottle of alcohol, and this machine vaporizes the alcohol, and you hook up a balloon to the machine, and it puts this like vape in the balloon, and then you basically suck out the balloon like you would if you were like sucking the helium out of a balloon.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I've seen a couple bars here locally do it. I'm not on this trend.
Yeah. Sounds complicated.
So, but basically they're saying that if you inhale this alcoholic vapor, that it goes straight to your bloodstream. So you're more likely going to get a really quick buzz. However, health officials are worried because I'm sure most people are not just vaping alcohol, that they're drinking. So they're worried about people getting too intoxicated or alcohol poisoning. But I have seen this company at like the nightclub and bar show in Vegas, and it's just a weird concept to me. But apparently it's getting big in the UK, but it's all because of this US-based company.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
But see, you were on board for being drunk for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But would you do it if you had to suck it out of a balloon?
No. No balloon sucking for me.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well, guys, if you have
that need,
yeah,
call Bre.
yeah, or
She'll hook you up.
I will not hook you up with anything. But if you have videos of you guys doing this, like please share with us. We'd love to watch this go down.
Yeah, right.
But to continue our conversation from last week, I thought this was really interesting. So if you guys missed last week's show, we were talking or continued our talk about how seltzers are taking over.
Right.
And they've officially deemed it the summer of seltzers.
Wow.
So a group in Denver have officially put together the first seltzer festival.
Oh my.
And I am so excited for this.
Yeah.
They are actually doing it on September 14th, and they're going to be having a taste competition. So they're actually incorporating big name brands with local seltzers because they feel that if a local person can win a taste test, then this festival can help put them on the map, and they kind of want the name for that. So it's called the Fizz Fight Festival. They're going to be doing 20 different brands of seltzers. And if you guys are unaware, because we kind of talked about this too, that seltzers are actually about to be a $1 billion category, which is a huge deal, especially because they are saying that only 2 to 5% of consumers have actually tried seltzers.
Wow.
So very small percentage of people, very big numbers. But I bring this up because if this festival is successful, they already have plans to go to LA, Austin, New Orleans, Tucson, Miami, and San Diego.
Wow.
So if anyone wants a road trip to Austin to go try a whole bunch of seltzers, hit me up.
She'll hook you up?
I won't hook up anybody.
Hey, try to find a White Claw in the area of a college, a university.
Yeah, it's insane.
You can't.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like, I wish I'd have known about it and invested in it. I mean,
oh,
crazy.
and that's another thing. If you guys have not seen, actual police departments have had to put out statements because of the phrase that became popular, that there's no laws when drinking claws.
Oh,
They've had...
yeah. There is alcohol content.
They have had to actually put out statements that laws still do apply when you are drinking claws.
Right,
So
right.
please follow the laws.
Yes.
But yes, other than that, my events for y'all to check out this week is our very own DC.
Right.
It's his Cigars and Ciders Friday night at 7 p.m. at Outlaw Cider in historic downtown Grapevine.
Wow. That is
Did I get
awesome.
it? Did I get
You
it?
got
Okay,
it.
great.
Wow. That is spectacular.
Yes. All right. So after weeks of listening to it over and over, I think I finally have it down.
Yeah. That is
So,
awesome, Bre. that
Yes,
you remember.
So go check out Outlaw Cider in DC. Get yourself a nice cigar, deal a cider, raffle ticket.
Right.
Because they always give
$20.
out $20. $20 gets you all in.
Right.
And yeah, well, make sure to follow me on Instagram at It's the Tipsy Gypsy, or you can go to itsthetipsygypsy.com for links to everything, past episodes of Barside Jive, giveaways, and all that good stuff.
Very cool, Bre.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being
Thanks.
here.
Enjoy your
We
pumpkin
enjoy
spice.
your say. Oh, I'm sure. I want to finish it before the end of the show. Yeah, I'll share too. I'll share. All right. Well, all right, guys. It is time for Art Jive Live, and I've got Cher Kaufman here in the studio tonight, and she brings her eclectic background to each project as an artist, author, illustrator, instructor, presenter, massage therapist, certified aromatherapist, and tea enthusiast. Her passion for patterns has led her from her art to studying Chinese face reading and 5-element theory to photography to botanical pattern studies. Wow. As an author of 9 books, Cher invites others to take a notice of the patterns in the world, to enjoy them, to respect them, and hopefully notice how these patterns relate to relationships, both big and small. Currently, Cher is studying the world of tea, having completed level 2 of the Specialty Tea Institute's Certified Tea Specialist program. By bringing her art background in with her love of tea, Cher is creating one-of-a-kind, hand-bound, tea-dyed books, along with modified eco-printing books using local botanicals. Cher has free art video programming available, perfect for beginners like me and those who want to explore something different like you on her YouTube channel, as well as other commercial and commissioned video projects. Wow. So welcome Cher to the show, Cher.
Wow, that person sounds like they do a lot.
Oh, man, you have no idea how much she does.
Yeah, I mean, those are some big words.
Because there was a lot more in it before I had to cut it down so
Top
you
the
had
bio.
time.
Yeah.
So I could actually get to you.
Well, thanks for having me here.
Oh, no, it's our pleasure. We started this Art Jive Live segment about a month or so ago, and we're really trying to do some cool things with it, like have, cool guests like you. And actually, it's not just, I don't just open it up to everyone. I actually try to handpick the people that I want on the show. So pretty much we're going to do someone like you every month. And then the rest of the weeks, we've got this Brad Jensen, who's my creative director for my show now. He does know that now. I've told him. I told him after a while, just in case. I didn't want him to be embarrassed. But he is going to come on and we're going to do like album art. And we're going to talk about, we're going to pull out some classic rock albums, and he's going to tell the story behind the art. And we're going to do that several weeks a month. So I think that's going to be cool.
That'll be cool.
Yeah, but we're glad you're here, Cher. And I'm sure that if you could just tell us quickly kind of a little bit about you, and then we'll move forward, because I got some things I want to ask you.
Oh, I almost want to jump just straight to the questions, because that sounds interesting.
I know.
Basically, I am a person that has always loved patterns, even from a young age, being taught how to look at different patterns. I was lucky enough when I was in 6th grade to actually be part of an actual archaeological dig.
Wow.
That was sponsored by the University of Arizona. So every Wednesday we would basically sort of skip school, and we would jot down to the site. We would walk from school down one of these pathways, and we learned a lot about finding patterns and looking for patterns, and just even changes in the way the dirt and such were. And anyway, we dug up a bunch of things that were having to do with the site.
Very cool.
But it was really right along my lines of learning that patterns actually lead to other things, because I think when we have an appreciation for patterns in the world around us, and that really goes for any genre. That's with music, that's with gardening, that's with cooking, that's with art, that's with clothing design, it's with making movies. When you appreciate what really goes into the process behind something, you really appreciate what's in front of you in a very different way.
Right.
So what I found was that I've studied a bunch of different patterns, from face reading to botanics to body language to art, that when I started to bring them together, that it was making a difference in other people's lives in very subtle, kind of sneaky but profound ways. So one example is I was teaching a drawing class at a senior center, and there was a woman that for the first time said no to her husband. She didn't want to do that, whatever the thing was. And what it was is that coming to the classes were so important to her, she didn't want to miss the class. That means that coming to this small little drawing class was actually creating a change inside of her, to the point where she was finding confidence
Right.
and was making a statement and was
Right.
deciding what was important in her day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I realized that this is one of those things where it has the ripple effect.
Right.
So what I like to do is I like to show people a little something. And even if it doesn't spark the same excitement or the same enthusiasm that I might have for it, just to have that little excitement or that little spark that shows up in their own eyes of like, oh, I never thought of that before. I never looked at it that way before,
Right.
is enough to strike them to be curious about something maybe later on in their life or to
Right.
see something differently. I've had people say that they look at textiles differently now because they're looking at the pattern. It's not just a tissue box, but now they're seeing, oh, there's flowers in there. And it's silly. It's a tissue box. But they're visually connecting with something different.
Right.
So the idea is to open up and get people curious, get them to look at something different, because what that does is it translates to something else. We don't know what that might be, but it often is significant for them. It's small to us, but it's significant for them. So
Right. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. You've brought some cool stuff with you. I've actually purchased something of you
did.
from
Yes.
you about a year ago.
Yeah,
think
for
it's
your
been
mom, I think.
Yeah, for my
If
mom.
I remember right.
Yeah. It's very cool.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about what you brought.
Okay, so I was a massage therapist for
Right.
almost 20 years, and I had a private studio, and I was unable to work out of my studio because there was a bunch of construction. So I actually rented out from a chiropractor's office, which allowed me to actually paint my studio space because I didn't have anybody in it. And while I was painting my studio space, I decided that I kind of missed the art, because I have a couple degrees in art, and I missed that creativity. So I started to teach classes out of my dining room on how to do meditative drawing. And one of my friends came over, and she took this information and the drawings that she took and showed them to a publisher in New York. And so I was contacted by the publisher in New York, and they asked me if I would do a drawing book, something that would explain the way that I was teaching people
Right.
how to do drawing. So I ended up with a contract to do a drawing book, and so it was this book here. Well, they put it on hold, and they said, this is great, but the coloring book trend looks like it might be taking off. We want you to do a coloring book. And so I was like, well, okay. And they said, well, we need 100 images, and we need them quickly. And I was like, okay, how about 90 days? Well, we want them like sooner. So I ended up drawing 100 images in like 2 weeks.
Wow.
And so this book came about. But the cool thing is that I was teaching at the senior center.
Uh-huh.
And they said that I could do books, or I could do some images from some of my students. So I'd been working with these ladies for over a year. And so I told them, if you're interested in maybe doing something for this book, let me know. But here's the hitch: you have 1 week. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, man.
So I'm telling these ladies that
Do
are
they ever
55
give you any
over,
time?
do you want to be published? You have
Yeah.
1 week.
Yeah.
And they did it.
Wow.
So this book, actually, these women that were in this class, right time, right place, 55 and over, are now internationally published artists,
Wow.
which is awesome.
Huge.
These books have been translated into, I think, 3 different languages. They've been over in Europe. They've been as far as Australia. So it's a really cool little spark
Yeah.
of change for these women.
Huge.
But also for me, because it's like it was the right place, right time, right group that gathered, and
Right.
it spread off. Well, before this one was published, they asked me to do another one.
Right.
So before that one actually hit, they asked me to do this one. So this one is a little bit different. I wanted to, again, ignite that level of creativity for people to want to know a little bit more about their world, or at least be exposed to a little bit about their world. So this book, what we did is I found things that were important to other people, other cultures, and drew a simplified version of that. And then in the front, what we did is we did a little bit of a guide on what those symbols were. And I would receive emails from people that said that that little blurb was enough for them to go to the internet and want to know more. And it's like, that's the excitement, is when you start to really open up that creativity,
Right.
something is sparked. And it's like, oh, I've done my job.
Right.
So anyway, the third book ended up coming out, and that was teaching people how to be able to do their own drawing, how to connect with the paper and the pen, because what I find is that it's a relationship. Everything that we connect to is a relationship. So the quirky things about one particular pen may be different on a different type of paper. And so learning those things is fun and exciting. And like gel pens, there was a big wave of gel pens in the coloring book world. Well, there was a whole bunch of people that didn't like them because they'd smear. And I'm like, oh, they smear. How can we use this to our advantage?
Right.
So then I ended up doing a bunch of like YouTube videos on how to smear your gel pen so that you could use it in a way that is to your advantage. It's like everything's a tool. Everything has an exciting way to use it. So why not figure out how to use the quirky things, right? So it's just like Bre was talking about the beer. It's like, I wonder how this would be as a beer batter, like used in a beer batter. It's like, that's the things you want to find out. Well, if it didn't work for you one way, how could you work with it?
Right.
It's like you immediately want to get creative. That's the type of things we want to open up to people.
Right.
So then that ended up kind of spawning these little baby books. These little baby books are
They're cool.
They're wonderful little pocket books. They're meant to be enjoyed in small pockets of time, maybe 10 minutes. There's drawing, there's meditative thoughts in here just to get people to kind of maybe connect or calm their own spirit. And there's different themes to each one of these books. So my publisher started to realize that I actually have quite of an eclectic background, as you listed in my shortened long bio.
Abbreviated.
Right, yeah, because I am in constant learning mode. I'm constantly bringing new things into my life, and I find that one step leads to the other.
Right.
So she asked me to do an essential oil book. She was realizing that my background in as a massage therapist would overlap into that.
Right.
So I completed my studies as a certified aromatherapist. And then, another book came out.
Wow.
So then this one is actually quite extensive. It has a lot of information. Just to touch on the topic briefly, I think there's a lot of people out there that are really, not knowingly, but they're abusing and misusing essential oils. So it's really, really important to know a little bit about what you're putting on your skin, in the air, in your body products. It's a very important topic, not to be used lightly. They are not just a product. That's probably my biggest message, is that essential oils are constantly active. They are not passive. They're not an air freshener. If you're smelling it, your body's reacting to it. And it could be a great response. It could be that you're being calmed. Your nervous system could be adjusting to it. It could be helping digestion. It could be fighting off bugs. But it is never passive.
Wow.
And that's one of the biggest things, is that you can't be going to a movie theater. We went to a movie theater, and a woman sprayed down the trays, and I could tell instantly what was in there, and it was too strong. And the problem is that when you have this idea that you're helping your family, you don't realize that when it's in the air, you could be causing a reaction to somebody else.
Right.
You don't know their medical history.
Right.
So it's an important topic. So this book is really good to help people understand how to use them, where they come from, and really how to respect them, because that's probably the best way to start. Is if you go into something respecting it, you're more apt to pay attention to how you use it.
Right.
So when I was doing the essential oil book, I had an experience with tea. Again, one thing leads to another. And the experience I had
Poor
with
Mark.
tea, I know, my poor husband, it's like I don't sit still long, constantly
like-
moving topics. I'm like, guess what we're learning today? And when I move into a topic, I go full force into a topic, and I try to learn everything I can about it.
You know, Mark's probably over there thinking, man, when I get my turn on that show, I got some things I want to talk about.
He's going to share. He's a good guy. I like him.
Yeah, he's cool.
So I had this tea experience where I had this incredibly bad cup of tea. It was really bad. It was the worst cup of tea I've ever had.
Wow.
And it was, I wanted to know why. Like, why would this cup of tea be so bad? Like, there was not enough honey in the world to save this cup of tea.
Wow.
So then I
It's
got on
bad.
the internet, and I was wondering, there's got to be a tea expert I can get a hold of. Well, I found one in Dallas, which is like awesome, because that means not only do I have access to them, but now I really have access to them, because I can go to their tea shop. So I ended up finding a mentor out of this connection. And then that led me to the world of tea. So I started to experience the world of tea, not only as a beverage, but also its health benefits. But then I got real curious because the creative side of me was like, okay, now what can I do? What are the quirky things that I can do with tea? Because I've heard that people die with tea, or, it was a long time thing, or if you wanted to make an old map for your school project.
Right.
I was like, well, what if I had a really big school project, like making my own book? Like, what if I wanted to combine all these things that I already know and I've learned from the botanics, from essential oils? Like, I want to know a little bit more about the essentials of tea. So I started to play with paper and dye the pages with tea. And I started to realize that it does amazing things, and different teas do different things on paper. It's not just this random color splotch. Mm-hmm. It changes the tannins of the teas, actually create different things, especially when they bump up against different botanics. So then I was curious about what could I do with other botanics, which led me to eco-printing. And eco-printing is when you take botanics, so like wildflowers or an oak leaf, and through a process, it transfers its tannins, its coloring to the paper, and you end up with an imprint. And when you combine the tea and the botanics and you do eco-printing, you can end up with some really amazing things. So what I started out with was I started to just play with tea, and this is hibiscus. And hibiscus is what we would call in the tea world a tisane. And that is that it is an herbal that is not coming from the Camellia sinensis plant. Tea comes from the Camellia sinensis plant. If it doesn't come from the Camellia sinensis plant, it's not tea.
Oh, wow.
So that means peppermint, spearmint, those are not tea. That's an herbal or a tisane. See, I am here to teach you.
Yeah.
So I started to play with that, and then I started to wonder what other botanics. So this book here, this is not actually pink paper. You get pink if you take the dye from avocado skins, green avocado skins, and the pit. You can extract this beautiful pink dye.
Wow.
So what's
Who would've
really
thought?
wild is that red onion skins produce green, whereas a green avocado produces pink. It's just, see, I get wildly
Crazy.
excited about like the
Yeah, who
botanics
would've
of the
thought?
world. It's like a secret world of what you can do on paper. So I started to do eco-printing. So this is an example of wildflowers just in the Texas area in the summertime. And this is what happens when the tannins of tea and iron water meet. They actually shift and change how things look. And that goes into a whole other process. But so I got interested in eco-printing with botanics. And then I wanted to paint with tea. And I thought, what happens if you paint with tea? So what I've done here is very similar to what a watercolorist might do, where they would do, it's called wet on wet, where you put a little bit of water down and then you add your color to where the water is, and the color follows where the water has been left.
Wow.
So it gives it a pathway to move.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did here is I would paint with tea, and then I would drop inks into it and just let them merge and move, and you end up with this relationship of however it ends. And so in this type of series, what I would do is I would take the pages and I would hand dip them into the tea, and then I would hand page each page individually with the ink, just to give a little bit of hand-touched inspiration to every page and allow somebody to do something that they want on here. But one thing that's really unique with the books that I do is that, because the relationship is important to me on how a person experiences art, is that I actually seal my books. So, for instance, when you open this book, it's lightly sealed. So no one sees those pages except for me.
Right.
Until that person takes that home and they open up those pages. They're the first ones to see the relationship between the botanics or the tea. It is truly their book. It's a very personal experience. And then I put a little certificate of authenticity in the back so that they have something that's really special. They're one of a kind. I can't duplicate them, because it's all about the relationship between whatever's happening on the paper and the type of paper and how long it was there, and if I forgot about it or if I was right on top of it, or there's magic that happens. And that's what I like to open up for people, is that it doesn't matter how you get to the magic, whether it's through drawing or through essential oils or learning about tea or art or music or however it is. The idea is that if it inspires you to get curious about something more, then I think your spirit kind of expands, or you awaken and you get curious, and you might see another person a little differently, or you might have something in common with someone that you didn't realize from before.
Right.
So
Right. That is so cool, Cher. I've learned a lot in the short time that we've had. Hey, tell folks how they can follow you, reach out to you. I'm sure you have a website.
yes, yeah. So it's Share the Fire, CHER, the fire, because I think it's also about sharing that
Right,
fire
right.
within, and it's kind of giving a little bit of a spark. So sharethefire.com. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. If you just put in Share the Fire, it'll pretty much pull all
cool.
those up. I do have some YouTube videos I haven't posted in probably 2 years now, or a year or so, that had to do with the initial coloring phase and teaching people how to get connected that way.
Right.
And so that's the only one that's different, and that's Share the Fire 9 with a 9 at the end of it. But really,
Okay.
you can go looking for Share the Fire, CHER.
And how can people see all your merch and your creations and order them?
Okay, well, a lot of that is done. I do a lot of things that are either commission work or word of mouth.
Okay.
So contacting me or looking at what I have currently available through Instagram is probably the most current way to find what's actually in my back pocket. But I do have a couple of events coming up. I'm
Okay.
going to be at the Urban Artists Market, which is actually in October. And that's easy to find. Just Google Urban Artists Market, and there's tickets that are available for that. That's a Friday night and a Saturday day.
Very cool.
And then I also have some really cool stuff that's actually working with Hip and Hippie, which is somebody that you're familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got a lot of events that are coming up. We've got some events that are coming up every Wednesday night coming soon, I think starting September 11th, I believe. September 7th, we're going to be doing something down at Hip and Hippie. And we've got a bunch of events coming closer to the holidays that we're going to be doing. And this is a very unique environment. There's a lot of different eclectic type of groups of people that are collaborative and are working together to create this space. And it's down in the Design District on Dragon Street in Dallas.
Very cool. Do you have the address?
I believe it is 1523 Dragon Street.
Very good, Sherry.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I wish we had a lot more time. We'll have to have you back.
Love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have you back for more in-depth study into the life of Cher Kaufman. Mark's going, no. And Cher Kaufman Art Creations.
You save your questions for next time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, well, I just asked one, and I think that it's like answered completely. Right, Mark? I know. I
Just
can
any more
say
questions?
that. You can't. You be quiet, Mark. I don't want you getting in trouble. I want y'all riding home together. Okay, guys. Thank you so much,
You're
Cher
welcome.
and Mark. It was awesome having you here. It really was. And just keep your seat. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah,
We're
no,
not
I
done.
can't wait for the next part.
Yeah, I've got my featured guest today is Mary Ellen Lollar, or Emmy. Emmy for short, right. Growing up in church, Mary Ellen, or Emmy for short, was surrounded by music, right? Old country, which could double as gospel, blues, and hymns. As she grew older, which she must have been really young at the time, and began to find a voice of her own, the Dallas-born girl developed a sense of self on stage. Singing was her home. Wherever she was, she could sing to take her to wherever she wanted to be. She left Dallas with her family and headed to Jacksonville, a small East Texas town rooted in faith, Creole flavor, and bluegrass feelings. The first time she picked up a guitar was to lead the youth group at her church. And she was like self-proclaimed terrible at it, she says. As it goes with time, she got better, and when she made the move back to the DFW area with her daughter and son, she started playing music outside of church, starting with open mics with greats such as Zach Wilkerson, Susan Gibson, and Walt Wilkins. With the support of great friends, she has developed a voice all her own and has become a singer-songwriter like she's always wanted to be. You can hear her play at venues such as the Blue Light in Dallas, Adair's Saloon, Sweetwater Grill in Royce City, and Sideways in Rockwall. This lady is totally worth a listen, and we're so glad to have her here tonight. Welcome, Emmy, to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's great having you. So did you make it here okay?
I did.
All the way from East
All the way from East Dallas.
Texas,
Live
East
over-
Dallas.
Well, yeah, I'm just in Dallas now, but it's still.
It's
you go
still
around the
east.
lake, Lake Ray Hubbard.
Yeah, getting across the lake's the same, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah. As long as there's no traffic, it's okay.
it's not terrible.
It's not terrible. So how's life for you?
Life is good.
Yeah?
I've been out here since 2015,
Yeah?
and I miss East Texas a little bit. I miss the trees. I miss the
Yeah.
slow way that life is down there. But I love being able to go to Dallas and
Yeah.
do whatever the hell I want to do.
Yeah, lots of opportunities here. Everything's kind of close as long as there's no traffic.
Hey, I don't mind traffic, honestly.
Really?
It's a jam session.
Yeah.
Just listen to
Oh,
music. Yeah.
yeah, that's true. That's true. That's a positive spin. That's a share proverb right there.
Yeah.
I am in agreement with that.
Yeah,
Find some
yeah,
new
yeah. Listen
music.
to you. You guys get along great. Not with me, but each other. All right, that's awesome. So, you want to play a little bit tonight?
Sure.
I know this is like my show. I do covers and tributes, but
Which I do mostly of.
I know you do. But you've got some original stuff, and
I do.
I'm just thinking it'd be cool if you did something.
I can do that for you.
You want to?
I'd love to.
All right. Well, are you ready?
Yeah. You
All
want
right.
me to do one or two right now?
Let's just do one.
Okay,
And
we'll
we'll
do
talk
that.
a little bit,
This
and we'll
is
do
a-
another.
This is the first song I've ever written. It's called Mockingbird, and it's about East Texas. But right after I moved back to Dallas from East Texas, I'm missing that place so much. So that's
Very
called
cool.
Mockingbird.
Awesome.
Mockingbird, could you sing him a song? Sing him a love song for me all night long. Make the melody sweet, like the kisses he gives to me. His heart is the harmony, and mine's keeping time. Mockingbird, can you help make him mine? Evergreen, could you whisper my name? Can you spell out my love for him whenever you sway? Could you tell him he's the one when he's hiding from the sun? Somewhere between a willow and a pine. Evergreen, can you help make him mine? 'Cause this distance between us is eating me up. I can't touch him or hold him myself. Oh, this feeling's not just so lonely, it's closer to death. Oh, please, I could use all your help. 'Cause he smells like the cedars. He's an oak, tall and strong, and he's soft as worn leather when he's playing his songs. He puts his hand on my heart, and I'm safe in his arms. But when he's gone, the damn sun fails to shine. Mockingbird, evergreen, oh East Texas, can you help make him mine?
Wow.
Thank you.
That was awesome,
Thank you very
Emmy.
much. Yeah.
Great song.
A little bit of
Wow.
Love. A little bit of sadness. That's what I'm good at.
Yeah. Well, a lot of love.
Yeah.
A little bit of sadness, a lot of love.
It wouldn't be one if you didn't have the other.
Right, right. Tell us a little bit about you. Who is Emmy?
So I'm a 35-year-old mother of 2. I have an almost 16-year-old daughter
Wow.
and a 13-year-old son. When I play a song here in a minute, it's going to be about him. But I work for the police department in Rowlett. I'm a dispatcher, not
Wow.
a police officer. I don't have cuffs or anything. It's always that question, do you have handcuffs? No.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
answer the phone to take the 911 calls.
That's kind of like yelling Freebird
Exactly.
at an Iron Maiden concert.
Yes.
You know, it's kind of the same thing. Anyway.
Yeah. And then,
Yeah.
It's a little disappointing.
Yeah.
I can always just say yes and move on. But
Yeah. Yeah.
There's that.
Right.
Yeah. So I dispatch. That's what I do half of the week. The other half I'm mothering or churching or playing music.
Wow. Yeah. Busy lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to stay that way.
Yeah.
I don't sit still very well either.
Yeah.
I don't like to
I don't think
not
creative people don't.
exactly.
Uh-uh.
Yeah.
Right.
No. I'm constantly. I have a dog, a German Shepherd named Captain. He comes to work with me.
Wow.
He's my best friend.
Here's that East
He's
Texas.
really cute. You asked me
Best
to bring
friend.
something that I adore, and I was like, I really want to bring Captain, but
Bring him. Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
he'd love it.
Oh yeah.
Y'all might
yeah.
not let me. leave
Oh
with
no,
him.
I love dogs.
He's
oh,
a great guy.
I love.
great
I love everybody else's dogs.
Yeah.
I don't want one to take care of myself, but I love
I get
them.
that. It's like being an aunt.
Yeah.
You can spoil a kid rotten and then
Yeah.
leave them at home with their mom.
Right. Absolutely. That's
Mhm.
my story.
I like that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, so what? I mean, you seems like you get a lot of your inspiration from for your songs from family.
Hmm. Yeah. So I grew up. Old country is my heart and soul. Really old country.
Yeah.
I like.
Like
well,
Bob Wills' old country,
like
or
old countries. Yeah.
like
it's
Merle
very
Haggard,
old
old
country.
country.
Yeah, old country like that. I appreciate the authenticity of it. It's kind of like old rap music uses so much better to me because they were actually gangsters, you know.
Right.
They actually have been shot at or
Right.
have shot.
Right.
But it's the same thing with outlaw country, I guess. It's they're living that life that they're singing about. They're actually doing it.
Right.
And then the singer-songwriter aspect of it with Walt Wilkins and Susan Gibson and my friend Heather Little out in East Texas and Zach Wilkerson here in Dallas. And
Right.
all of them are writing songs about their lives.
Right.
And not necessarily story songs like Reba or anything like that. I haven't tried to do that yet, but just being honest in your lyrics and the way that they can write a personal song about them, but it's also completely about me. That's what I want to do.
Right. Right. Real.
Yeah.
Real stuff. Yeah, that's awesome. I think you can pretty much do anything you want to do, girl. I just got that feeling. So let's.
Yeah, we'll
you
see.
you want to play another one?
Yeah, this one is the last song that I've written. I used to call it 11 because I wrote it about my son when he was 11, or about the time that he was 11. I wrote it just recently, but he's 13, so you can imagine how offended he is by that
Oh,
statement.
yeah.
He's a teenager. Mom.
Everything's offensive at that
But
point.
actually, whenever I got divorced, he started making these paper rings out of straw wrappers.
Oh,
And we'd go to the gas station or Chick-fil-A or wherever we go to get anything, and he'd take the wrappers off the straws, collect them, and make little rings, and then he'd put them on my finger.
wow.
Yeah. And
How
so he
cool
said,
is
"You know,
that?
Yeah, you need a ring there, Mama. It's okay.
That's
I'll
cool.
make you one." So my friend Heather Little, actually, she was the one that said, "Hey, that's a song. You should probably
Yeah.
write that."
Right.
And so I
Right.
did. And so that's what this is called.
Very
Paper Rings
cool.
is what it's called now. And yeah. Blue eyes, blonde hair, and a heart of gold. The sweetest hand that I ever had to hold. He's got a smile that can take you from hell back to heaven. He's the love of my life, and he's 11. He makes me rings out of
paper straw wrappers off the floor, and he slides him on my finger where his daddy's ain't no more. He says, Mama, good as you, deserves a diamond on her hand, but for now it's paper rings from her little man. Mama, why do you have to go? You can say that you're sorry, you know. I said I wish it was as simple as standing by your man, and as solid as a gold wedding band. He makes me rings out of paper, straw wrappers off the floor, and he slides them on my finger where his daddy's ain't no more. He said, a mama good as you deserves a diamond on her hand, but for now it's paper rings from her little man. I said, my baby boy, these paper rings you make for my hand are worth more than any diamond or any man.
Wow, Emmy, that is so good.
Thank you.
You know, guys, I'm gonna tell you, just sitting here thinking, but you know, it's in this world full of a lot of hate that we see on the news and differences. It's guys like you, Cher, and you, Emmy, that make this show all worthwhile, and the reason I do it. So thank you. Would you share your contact information if people want to find out where you're gigging, or
Absolutely.
if they want to, if they want to follow you,
Absolutely.
how they can do that?
So I'm complicated, but I'm M.E Makes Music, and that's on Instagram and Facebook, and it's M.E.Makes Music.
Cool.
That's me. Or Emmy Lollar is just as good too. I share on both of those. I tried to make a music page as well, but I already had a lot of followers on my other one. So M.E Lollar, Lollar. That's how you spell that one. It's like dollar, but with an
At
L.
Lollar. Awesome. Emmy, thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
sharing.
I appreciate you
It
very
was-
much having me up
It was
here.
awesome. Oh, no, it's our pleasure. Hope to
Yeah.
have you back.
I'd love to be back.
Yeah, we'll get you scheduled for next year.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, guys, so I'm going to move on. My featured cigar segment is sponsored by Old Grapevine Cigar and Tobacco Shop, located in historic downtown Grapevine, Texas. Yeah. Okay, today I'm featuring the Acid Bellicoso Blondie, one of my favorites by Drew Estates. The Acid Blondie Bellicoso Connecticut is a smooth to medium body with the blondie shape, finished with a pigtail head. Blondie cigars are mainstays with their mellow and sweet blends and captivating aromas. Ringed in metallic blue, this line is the careful combination of the finest smooth cigar tobaccos and aromatic blending. These cigars are the smokes of choice by those seeking total relaxation from the daily rigors of life. Stop by Old Grapevine Cigar and Tobacco Shop in historic downtown Grapevine, Texas, and see Kenny, Tom, Ardena, and let them figure out what would be good for you. And if you mention Barside Jive, you'll get 10% off your total purchase. So don't forget to mention us. They also have a large selection of pipe tobaccos. If you guys are into that, it's huge. So check that out. And as Bre said earlier, my next cigar and cider event is this coming Friday, 7 to 9 at Outlaw Ciders Patio, 112 East Texas Street in Grapevine. $20 gets you a pint of Outlaw Cider, a Drew Estate cigar, and a raffle ticket. We give away cool prizes, so you want to do that. Okay. And you can get tickets at Outlaw Cider, Old Grapevine Cigar, or see me if you can catch me. Okay, so I do this meme of the day sometimes, and Jay,
Yes, sir.
I don't see my meme up here.
Your meme?
Yeah.
Well, it's in your head. You can just say it.
Okay, so I found this meme, and I thought it was like cool as all get out. And it's like this. It was a sign, and I guess it's in front of a church. I really can't tell, but it says this: "Thou shalt not try me, Mom, 24/7." And I was like, okay, that's really cool. I got to share that. And I wish I could share the picture, but I can't. But it's not on my screen, so I can't share it. But anyway, okay, guys, so it's time for final notes. So, guys, you can catch my Thursday show, Singer-Songwriters, on that Thursday show, original music, and Bre Akers bringing Tipsy Gypsy again every Thursday, 7:30 p.m., vokalnow.com. And it's always vocal with a... Good, it's kind of weak. Must be that pumpkin spice getting to you over there. You can also catch my Sunday Barside Jive Live Rewind, where I dig into the archives and bring out something cool for you guys and post it on Sunday, facebook.com/Barside Jive Live. And, of course, I'm still doing my daily dose every day, rock, music, history, so check it out. It's on my Facebook page. And I think I'm done. Hey, don't forget to check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Barside Jive Live. Got some cool playlists. Got a singer-songwriter playlist. I have a cover tribute band playlist. Of course, my daily dose, my rewind, all of them have their own playlists. And my rock files, where I've interviewed, Cher Ross from Vixen and who else? Roger Earl from Foghat and Bunny Carlos from Cheap Trick and Jimmy Vaughn and on and on and on. So check that out too on my YouTube channel. Don't forget, vokalnow.com is the home to the zoo.
The Zoo. On Vocal.
As well as Barside Jive in the entertainment section. So get your Zoo Freak on and download the app, Vocal Now. Even Brad Sham's on Vocal. All right, guys. Also, whether you create music or some sort of visual art, or would like to advertise or sponsor a show, or would just like to reach out with a comment or message, it's dc@barsidejive.com. It's just that easy. And don't forget ever that my show has also been brought to you by Hip and Hippie. Hip and Hippie is a planet-loving company known for its high-quality, earth-friendly, 100% recyclable candle line and natural body care products. It's no wonder eco-supporting people love Hip and Hippie. hipandhippie.com. Thanks to Bre for taking our photos today. Thanks to Jay, our production guy. Jay, you still with us?
Of course.
Awesome. Man, you are on the ball. Hey, are we going over?
Just a little bit.
We in overtime? Okay, I'll stop. Okay, guys, my parting thought is at the end of this life, what really matters is not what we brought to it, but what we built. Not what we got, but what we shared. Not our competence, but our character. And not our success, but our significance. Live a life that matters. Live a life of love. Push end of show. Just kidding. That's just my note, but I thought I'd say it anyway because I thought it was funny. Okay, guys, we are out of here. We will see you guys next Tuesday. Be kind to one another. Keep it real. Keep on rocking.